Good morning, Sir Ronnie. I'm Cherry M. Sunugan. We are the Group 2. We will tackle about the inventory management. So, the inventory management, it is important. Why it is important? Because inventory management helps companies identify which and how stock to order at what time. And it tracks inventory from purchase to the sale of goods. Um, the practice identify and respond to trends to ensure there always enough stock to fulfill customer orders and proper proper warning of a shortage. So it's very.
Good day, sir and classmates. We are the Group 2. Our report is all about Chapter 8, the Inventory Management. So, learning outcomes. Upon finishing the session, the learner is expected to identify the components of inventory and its related terms, identify the various forms and documents used to evidence an inventory account, check the importance of human resources who handle the inventory, know the methods of costing and inventory, and describe the EOQ model. So, learning contents. So, in an operating cycle, it all starts with cash. The operating cycle says the moment the company has cash, basically, they have to convert it to inventory. When they have the inventory, they are going to sell and convert the inventory into a receivable, and then they will collect the account to eventually convert it back cash. So, kining operating cycle, it is important because it can tell a business owner how quickly the company is able to sell inventory. So, simply put, it determines the company's efficiency. The better a business owner understands the company's operating cycle, the better that owner will able to make decisions for the benefit of the business. So kini ang operating cycle dako kay siya tabang para sa kaayuhan sa usa ka business. What are the different types of inventory accounts? The Philippine accounting system to define inventories as assets, which are held for sale in the ordinary course of business under trading concern business enterprises. In the process of production, for such sale in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process under the manufacturing concern business enterprise or in the rendering of services under the service concern business enterprise. Balik sa Peralta 2008. So, let us have a short review of the types and forms of organization. So, the forms of business organization. Sole proprietorship. Owned by one person, only an owner is called proprietor or proprietress in case of a female owner. So, in a sole proprietorship daw, kaning um, it is owned by one person only. So, one person lang ang involved aning sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. So, ang gitawag siya proprietor if lalaki ang owner, proprietress if babae ang owner. Then, in sole proprietorship, kanang you are the boss and you keep all the profits. So, ikaw ang boss, so ikaw ang maghipo sa tanang profits. Then, decision making is simple. Then, because you have complete control over the business. Then, in an partnership, it is owned by two or more persons and the name of the owners are partners. So, in partnership, it is between two or more persons. So, in a partnership, better business decisions can be made because two heads are better than one. So you share the business risk and the responsibility of the running the business with your partners. And then in corporation, it is owned by five or more persons and the owner is called corporator. So in corporation, tagiya is owned by five or more persons. So gitawag po siya corporator. So if the corporation is a stock corporation, the owner is called stockholder or shareholder. So kung ang corporation is stock corporation, ang owner, ang tagya is ginatawag siyang shareholder or stockholder. Dayon, if the corporation is a non-stock corporation, ang owner is called a member. So, in a corporation, it has a limited liability of the owners because stockholders are liable for corporate debts only up to the amount they have invested. So, in a corporation, they have greater capital and is in raising additional funds because a corporation can issue shares to a wider extent of investors. So that's all. Thank you and good night.
Good day, I'm Angelo Hermos. So I'm going to report about type of business organizations. Business organizations is a service concerned business enterprise that connected to. There are three type of business. So that was sole proprietorships and partnerships and corporation. That was referred to other group, other members of us. So I'm going to report about type of business organizations. Service concerned business enterprise. Those that render service to earn income. So, and the example of this is like, mga employees. Employees na renders lang mga service, mga trabaho para mga hard work, para maka-earn silang income, para makakuha silang mga kita, makakita silang kwarta. So, dapat mga apply sila. And in the second is that trading concern business enterprise. Those that sells merchandise to earn income. So kanis sila mga mo ang mga mamaligya. Mamaligya it's mean like merchandise kay na mamaligya sila mga kwan. So pag example ato kaning tindahan. Mga tindahan nagbaligya sila mga kwan, mga makaon, soft drinks. So amo na para maka-earn sila income. So ang kanang ilang pangbuhatan ng mga merchandise, ilang gipangkuan ng pagkuan sa gikan sa kwan manufacturers, pagpalit nila, pag-purchase nila ilan ang patubuag gamay presyo para maka-income sila, maka-earn sila profit para mo dako ilang kwan, makakita po sila. So the next is supplies. This is connected about trading concern business enterprise. Supplies the same control merchandise with of the service concern. So need sila mag supplies. Ma-supplies sa merchandise para naslay pod naslay kapaligya naslay ka bansili kung mahalin na mahurot og kahalin ang mga kwan nila naslay ka pansili para makakuha na pod maka-supply na puglain. So ang sunod kay merchandise inventory. So ang merchandise inventory items that company purchase and intended for sale to its customer. So mo na mga merchandise inventory na mas listahan bitaw, which means kani sila mahali kani siya na item halinon kay ni siya. So ang kuana merchandise kuana mga inventory, so nakalista na sila mao na ang mahalin kay sa mga customer, mao na ang dali na kay mahalin, mao ni ang mag-need kay sa mga customer, mao na ilang ipagpangkuan ipang purchase sa laing sa company, mao na ilang kuan gipalit para kay dali rin kay halinon sa customer, so mao lang gipangpalit. So ila po na pagtubuag kuan para maka-earn po sila profit. So dali ra ilang pagkakuan bitaw pagpadagan, so mga kuan na product life cycles mo na lang kuan. Dira pod sila kuan para sa kuan na pang ibaligya nila. So ang ikatulo sa kuan type of business organizations is 3. Manufacturing concern business enterprise does not convert raw materials into finished product. So mo na ang nag-manufactures. Manufacture sa itong mga kuan. Example, yung t-shirt na akong isuot karon, kuan siya blue. So ang pag-process ani gikan sa raw materials, gi-process nila ilang ipang kuan to color to design. So mga product life cycles. So mo ang pag-process para makakuanta, maka-abot siya sa finished product. Mo na ang gikuan nila na manufacturing concern business enterprise. Mo na siyang convert raw materials into finished product. Dayon raw materials inventory, mo na ang mga materials which the company purchases it for use in production. So mo na ang kuan nila na kinahanglan nila mo palit para in this certain company, example company sa shop. So ang nilang pang purchase gud na mga makina, covers sa shop, mga tools, dili na sila mo purchase sa laing kuan na. Example, dili sila mo purchase og mga sanina kay di man sila align sa kuan business na lang gipangbuhat. So alang pagkuan na mga kaning gaysano, example to gaysana. Di ba na sila mga kuan na sila daily sales off. So kanang mga kuan nila, mga sales off, na sila mga 90%. Nga na, para pan bitaw, dali na sila makuan pod ang baligya pa nila sa mga finished good products. So, the next, mo ni ang beginning inventory padong siya sa goods available purchase, kaning mga purchase, cost of goods sold, income statement, ending inventory balance sheet. Padong na siya goods available for sale. Kay mong napunta sila sa mong connected sila sa good available for sales kay primero pagayat beginning inventory. So kana sila mga beginning inventory, so padaw gyud sila mga good available for sales kay pag humana na padaw man na sila dadto kay pabaligya man na sila ang purchase. So pag purchase sa mga product, good available kay pang merchandise, so dapat pang baligya. Cost and goods sold income statement. So kaning mga income statement nakadetalye, which means they intended to be sales. So mga mga profit, mga income, so mga available na na ga-purchase. So naka-income statement to siya. An ending inventory balance sheet. So mo na dito makita ang mga profit sa good available for sales. Di ba? Kuan yun. Kay di man ka dahil ko inventory, bigyan ng inventory, so ibaligya na siya. So connected siya sa good and sold income statement to ending inventory balance sheet. So ending ending inventory mo na siya mga total sa in this years. Mo ni ang mga balance sheet na kita nila then na dispalto or na nila na kwarta. So, amo na yung pangutana sa why do we have manage inventory? So, managing should be warrant a good inventory system because of effect and mismanagement or inventory could be result the following. So, mga mo na yung mong dako kay pangutana ngano kailangan pa man i-manage ang inventory na di pwede kung di surat ta purchase para makakuan ni kwarta dili mong need siya manage ang inventory, which means ang cycle sa imong inventory nara fermente, which means kanang pag purchase mo sa merchandise sa inventory nimo, so dapat na, which means na siya ikapuli bitaw dayon na naka-manage siya, which means walay bakante sa imong inventory, dapat niyag pagawas ana na napuli ana siya na padagan sa management inventory. Mo ni siya number 1, understocking, which means the stock are not sufficient to meet the demand of the business. So dapat sila kung wala na sila sulod, not sufficient na, dapat magdemand na pa sila sa business para masudlan. This is your para dali bitaw sila mapulihan dahil ang mga kuan para continue ang dagan sa business. Muna siya. This is a serious problem. This could result the following: missed deliveries, lost sales. You satisfied the customer. You sat ano sabi you sat oh, product bottleneck, work so muna siya nakakuan sa kuan the serious problem that's result the following. So dapat ang stocking dapat makuan ka sa business mo ni ang kailangan mo ni ang pagpaliton para masudlan kuan pulihan ang inventory kay wa na isulod dapat nakasulod na sudlan na siya daan para dali ra bitaw ka na napugay safety dapat kailangan napugay safety stock kay which mean kung wala na ka na item na kay safety stock na ikapuli. So dapat mo na po ka sa business para makuha na po to mapulihan ana naman ang dagat sa product life cycle. So
Why we need to manage inventory? So we need to manage inventory para ma-identify nimo kung pila ka items or pila pod ang mahalin. So para pod ma-control nimo kung enough ba siya sa demand and para ma-maximize nimo ang minimum of the product kay even a small business is mag-inventory gina sila. Kay kung dili man gud mag-inventory, the effect of the mismanagement of inventory could result in the following. So first is understocking. This means the stock are not sufficient to meet the demands of the business. So, overstocking is imong product is kulang sa demand or dili siya enough to supply the market kay wala man kay inventory. These are the serious problem. This can result to be the following. So, kung ma-overstock ka is first is ma-miss delivery. So kay kulang man ang imong product is dili jud nimo ma-deliveran tanan tud kay kulang man ang imong product. Next is loss of sales. So loss of sales is mawad-an jud ka og sales kay dili man nimo mahatag ang demand sa market. Then next is unsatisfied. So syempre kay kulang man ang imong product is dili jud nimo ma-deliveran then ang imong customer is di satisfied tungod kay wala man sila kapalit. Then next is the production bottleneck. Kaning production bottleneck is kuan siya kanang na-delay ang pag-process sa imong production. Then next is work page. So kaning work ang company, so possible nga ang mga employee is wala sila trabaho. The next is overstocking. This means that the stock are more enough for the demand of the business. These are the possible effect for. So overstocking, so ganiya kulang ang product but overstocking is nanobra na pod siya kay wala man ka inventory, so nanobra ang imong product sa demand nga gipangayo. These are the possible effect of this. So first is holding cost might be too high. So since kay overstocking man ka, so of course dako ka og gasto nga gigunitan kay na kuan man imong product is sobra raman. Then sunod is fund could have been used for more productive venture, thus improving operating performance. So kay overstocking man ka, so daghan jud ang product nga mapundo pero depende pud sa imo kung imo gamiton to display the other market. With the possibility of either overstocking or understocking, inventory should be taken utmost care of and must address two major concerns: the timing of order and the size of the order. So para ma-avoid nimo ang overstocking ug understocking is mag-inventory jud ka para ma-make sure nimo ang imong product. Then imong i-timing ang imong order ug ang size sa order. To effectively manage the inventory, one must have the following. So first is a system to keep track the inventory of on hand on the order and the reliable forecast of demand. Knowledge of lead time, then reasonable statement of inventory, holding cost, ordering, and shorted cost. Then the last is clarification system for inventory item. Then the following are the producers in managing inventory. So the beginning inventory must be enough until the next delivery. So kung kanang sa sugod og inventory, so dapat kanang ang ang product is maabtan pa siya og next delivery. So, of the raw materials. A statement that the lead means the time that order was placed to the supplier of the time the order was received to the buyer purchases. So, the supplier, the accredited supplier of choice, must be objectively selected by a committee so that materials can be easily produced. In the some committee companies where there is no committee, the handles of the purchase of the raw materials, the department is more aggressive in doing their job to protect their interest of the company. So kung as a supplier is kanang dapat kanang nakay committee para dali ra ang pag-produce sa imong product.
The freight charges, freight on board or FOB destination. This contract says that the supplier will deliver the merchandise inventory from the supplier's warehouse to the buyer's warehouse free of charges. This is very important, especially for a company that purchases the merchandise from far places that is requires the use of boat or plane as a mode of transportation or delivery. In this case, the legal title transfer the ownership of the merchandise from the seller to the buyer once the delivery man of the seller has transferred the merchandise from the delivery van to the buyer's warehouse. Number 2. Freight on board or FOB shipping point. This contract says that the supplier will deliver the merchandise inventory from the supplier's warehouse up to the shipping point only. The shipping point will be the pier or the airport. Once the supplier has transferred the merchandise to the boat or the plane, the legal title passes already from the seller to the buyer. This is very important because even if the buyer has not yet received the merchandise because the boat is still on its way to the buyer's warehouse, since the legal title passed already to the buyer, then the inventory for financial reporting purposes should now be included. Number 3, cost insurance freight. Under this agreement, the buyer will pay the lump sum amount of cost of goods sold, insurance, and freight charges. This can be modified to CF, which means cost of goods sold and freight charges. This means that the buyer will pay the seller the lump sum amount of cost of goods sold and freight charges. Number 4, free alongside. A seller who ships fast FAS must bear all expenses and risk involved in delivering the goods to the dock next to or alongside. The buyer will shoulder the cost of loading expenses and shipment as the buyer takes possession of the merchandise when the carrier takes possession of the merchandise. Number 5. Ex-ship. A seller who delivers the goods ex-ship bears all expenses and risk of loss until the goods are unloaded at the time titled, and risk of loss shall pass to the buyer.
So the total goods available for sale. The total goods available for sale is the beginning inventory plus the net purchases. This account must be controlled well because too much good in the warehouse might result in overinvestment in inventory. So pag too much good na or daghan na kaayong products sa warehouse niya wala na dispose, so mo result jud siya og overinvestment. So overinvestment in inventory will result to losses on the part of the company kay syempre kanang investment punta is pwede pa nimo magamit like i-invest sa lain or i-time deposit. So diri sa pagkuha sa pag-analyze sa movement sa inventory nimo, ang gigamit nga example or ang gigamit nga table is katong sa chapter 4. Katong sa real corporation comparative statement of financial position. So, mani siya nga table. So, ang una is ang merchandise turnover. So, merchandise turnover, cost of goods sold, divide average merchandise inventory. So, ang cost of goods sold niya is 2,208,520. Tapos, ang average inventory, para makuha na to, i-add na to ang sa 2014 o sa 2015, then divide sa 2. So, ang result is 316,259. So, 2,208,520 divide 316,259 is 6.98 times or 7 times. So, the average turnover is 6.98 times or roughly 7 times. This is one way of saying the Rails Corporation is able to dispose of their inventory 7 times a year. And to give a better understanding of what the figures are telling us, we have to move to the next analytical tool. This is the number of days inventory. So, sa number of days inventory is, ang gamiton is 365 days or 360 days inventory turnover. So, ang gigamit diri is 365 number of days in a year man. Divide nimo sa inventory turnover nga 7 times. Therefore, the number of days in inventory is 52.14 days or roughly 52 days. So, this 52 days in inventory means that Rail Corporation is able to sell their products in every 52 days, almost 2 months. So, if the product of Rail's company is considered as fast-moving merchandise, then the slow movers are the sales personnel or the sales person or the sales representative of the merchandise. Then you have to move other factors that affect slow movement of merchandise, such as mangita kag laing way kung manong hina man mag dispose ang product. So, number 1 is our merchandise competitive? Is our merchandise substandard? Is our location strategic? Lisod pangitaon or dili kayo ilado? Are we giving competitive remuneration to our salesperson? Or are we giving the right training to our salesperson? Basta hindi ay kulang ang training, dili kayo kabalo mo sales talk. Are we hiring the right person for the position? Or other question as you deem important in your analysis in order to improve the quality of service to your customer nearby improving your bottom line figure. So, kailangan din mo isa-isa kung kailangan din mo pangitaon kung asa jud siya.
Merchandise inventory and the merchandise that was left unsold at the end of the and reflected in the balance sheet of the company. So, ang merchandise inventory and it is ending inventory is the total of goods and you have available for sale at the end of accounting period. So, the basic formula for calculating ending inventory is beginning inventory plus net purchase and cost of goods sold and ending inventory. So, goods on consignment. This is a marketing strategy wherein another company will display its product for sale in another company. So, basically, ang consignment di ay kay ginapagunit nato ni sa usa ka agent or sa lain business. Kumbaga, ginabutang nato ato ang goods or product, then sila ang mamaligya ani. Then, ang consignee or ang gagunit sa ato ang goods, every time na makabaligya sila, naa sila portion or profit ani. Ang ginatawag na consignment. So, purchase commitment are obligation of the company to procure merchandise inventory in the future, which are already fixed by a contract as far as the price and quantity are concerned. Sa transaction ani, dili kita ang seller, kumbaga kita ang buyer, mao ganing ginatawag na purchase. So mosulod ang entity ani sa usa ka kontrata na mamalit og fixed merchandise. So dili sa karon, but rather at some future time. So then ang ilaha aning presyo nagi-settlement wala na pod nakadepende kung pila ang market price. Kay katong atong inventory or merchandise ilahan na nang gisettle or gi-fix na nila atong time pa lang sa kontrata. So basically that is purchase commitment.
So the following are the factors that affect cost of goods sold. So number one is merchandise inventory. So merchandise inventory, beginning merchandise inventory, end of the last accounting period, and at the same time the merchandiser inventory beginning for this period. So number one is merchandise inventory, beginning merchandise inventory, end of the last accounting period, and at the same time the merchandiser inventory beginning for this period. So merchandise inventory is the cost, like the cost of finished goods that a retailer or wholesaler has available to sell to its customers during a given accounting period. For example, tuna or mga corned beef, na for example mga snacks, mga cookies, like that. Then mga milk, the mga condensada, angels, evaporada, like. So number two is purchases. So the purchases, the supplier for your merchandise, type of freight charge, and total good available for sale. So what does purchase mean? So purchase is a routinely operation carried by both individuals and corporations. So the purpose of this financial transaction is to transfer the ownership of a piece of property physical. For example, Inspiration Clothing Co., for example, the company that sells apparel for women. So the company business model is fairly straightforward. So they provide all the merchandise for Inspiration. The company has a purchases department that sells with wholesales and places purchase orders. So like that, for example, the deep definition of purchase is like to pay for and take possession of a good or receive a service. So number three is freight in. So freight charge recognized by the company resulting from the freight agreement of FOB shipping point. So freight in is the cost of having goods or materials delivered to a business for manufactured or sell. So when the buyers pay for the cost of freight, the buyer records the cost as a freight in. So number four, purchase discount. Discount availed by the company by paying early. So purchase discount is offer from the supplier to the purchaser to reduce the payment amount if the payment is made within a certain period of time. For example, a purchaser bought 100 item with a purchase discount term to 3 and 10 net to 30. If a pays within 10 days, they will only need to pay 97 pesos. For example, Shopee, number 2 example is Shopee. Mag-order ka og item, then naa sila purchase discount like voucher, like that, then para makasave ka sa shipping or free shipping discount. Ana din for example 230 plus imong shipping, then pag nanakay voucher 50%, mag-less na siya og 50. To 30 plus imong kwarta, din imong mabayaran na lang ini cash on delivery is 200 or 190 plus yata. So next is cost of goods sold. So what do you mean cost of goods sold? So cost of goods sold, COGS, so refers to the direct cost of producing the goods sold by a company. So the last part of our analysis in the flow of inventory transaction is the cost of goods sold. So this amount include the cost of the materials and labor. So there are the following are the factors that affect cost of goods sold. So number 1 is merchandise inventory.
ASU, and I will be the one to discuss about who handles the inventory. So these are the following handling in inventory. 1 is purchaser, 2 is warehouseman, and 3 is stock and clerk, and 4 is bookkeeper, and 5 is auditor. So let's briefly discuss about the purchaser. Purchaser is the staff that procures the inventory. The job of the purchaser is to purchase quality inventory at the cheapest price so that the company can offer also changes but quality merchandise to its customer. So example of the purchaser is, if you are a purchaser or buyer of a print elephant factory, you manage to buy all the paint dye, the elephant molds, and the packaging. You also might just be a consumer or buying milk at the store. So purchaser is similar to a purchasing agent, has the responsibility of buying products and services for their organization for. So, sorry for the interruption. Warehouseman. Warehouseman is the staff that receives the merchandise, safekeeping it and the warehouse, and issues to the store. So whenever there is a need or when the customer is ordering it. So warehouseman is, there are many objectives of the facility in being a warehouseman. So 1 is identify the objectives of the facility, 2 maintain safety stock levels, 3 control the facility of goods, 4 maintain quality control, and 5 is use the right software. So let's continue. And number 3, stock and clerk. Stock and clerk is the one who records the receipt and issuances made by the warehouseman. So stock and clerk is responsibility for making sure that consumers have access to the merchandise. They are looking for an organizing product, displays, and storage. Their duties includes counting inventories, adding price tags to items, and putting products on shelves according to an organized system. So there are many responsibilities of stock and clerk. These are the following. 1 is transferring stock in the warehouse. 2, labeling items for pricing, storage, and transfer. 3, notifying supervisions and managers of inventory levels. 3, packing items for storage and retail display. 5 is supporting the warehouse manager in the course of their duties. So let's continue the bookkeeper. The bookkeeper is the records the purchase made by the made by the warehouseman. So the bookkeeper is the one who who record the accounts payable and receivable and the payroll. And the most important duty of the bookkeeper is to track and manage financial data. So so last and is auditor. The auditor is the one who checks the inventory in the warehouse, the documents that support the purchases, the books where transactions were recorded, and summarized in the financial management. So the auditor itself has a responsibility to plan and perform to audit, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of materials misstatement, whether caused by error or fraud. So the auditor is the one who appointed by company to perform an audit. So that's all, sir. Thank you.
So good day once again, Sir Ronnie. So my topics is the documents and forms to evidence and inventory. Evidence inventory. So what are the documents and forms to evidence inventory? Accounting forms are internal forms used by a business organization. These forms are intended to have a consistent application of various transactions and in return, the company can attain comparability of financial figures in the future. So we have here the stock card, the chart of stock card. Uh, we called it inventory card. And this inventory card, the stock card, the first column that written is first column is ordered. So the order contains of date, purchase order, quantity. Then the received column, it contains of quantity, unit cost, and the amount. For the issued, contains SR and SR, quantity, unit cost, and the amount. For for the balanced column, it has the quantity, unit cost, and the amount as well. So this inventory card, it's very important to monitor as well the company, the supplier, or as the merchandiser. Before I'm holding this stock card or the inventory card, and I always do it when I go to work. I always do it every morning, and before selling and after selling. It is very important because what if we don't have enough stock of these products or item, and and the customers will demand the these products. We will buy it for the wholesale, just like that. So it should be monitor and inventory card. And the second is the material receiving report, or the MRR. It is only a small forms which contains of quantity, description, unit price, and the amount. Um, let's have example for the quantity. Our products or items, it is the product foods. So let's have example for the quantity is 100 pieces of Goya products. So the description is um, for example 100 pieces of Goya products, buy one take one. Especially this December season, um, the company or agency, the supplier, it is the promotion that um, that is always in the supermarket or in grocery like that. And then for example, buy one take one, and the below we can put here the single Goya bars, just like that. It depends what do you want to order. And the unit price, let's have example. The price of the Goya for the buy one take one is actually it's not buy one take one only. It has buy two take one, just like that. And let's have the unit price of the Goya buy one take one, 43 pesos. And for the amount, it should be the quantity 100 pieces times for the unit price, which is 43 pesos. So let's put here on the amount, that is the total. And we will not forget also, if you're gonna have a purchased order, or if you want to order, it should have the receipt by. um, it it can be received by the buyer, or received by the for the company. And if they are delivering products, or if they are delivered products on the grocery, just like meds, it should have received by the stockman, or the uh, merchandiser straightly. And just put it a sign and receive by, and approve as well. It should approve by the supplier or the company. So the third forms is the material issuance slip, or the MIS. So it contains the date, particulars, job order number, unit cost, and the amount. So it's the same with the material receiving report, or the MMR. The difference is only the description and the particulars. The important is the description of the name of the products, and for the unit price and the amount. This form will be used to document the issuance of raw material to various users together with the MMR. This will establish the warehousing responsibility of the warehouseman. Issuance of raw materials without a corresponding MIS would mean a shortage of the warehouseman. 1. Purchase order. It is used by the purchaser and serves as an authority to purchase merchandise. This is based on the canvas sheet. So this form and the purchase order it's used by the purchaser to to deal with the order purchases, what they want to order. 2 is the canvas sheet. It is the survey of the prices of merchandise that the company would like to purchase. The merchandise could either be for use in the office or for sale to the customer. So the canvas sheet is, we called it the request form. For example, when I was a merchandiser, I don't have enough for the stock of the products in the Goya bars chocolates products. So I need to request to purchase order or to order. So I need this canvas sheet and fill up like that for how many pieces, and for the total amount, just like that on the description as well. Then the bin card, it is the maintained at the place where the merchandise was placed. This card is maintained to monitor the movement of merchandise displayed in the warehouse. When I was a merchandiser, um, it is separate. I have the stock room for my products. I have the stock room for my products. I put there a logbook and the inventory form for only the stock room, so I can know how many how many pieces of products that I get, or how many products that left in this my stock room. That is only stock room for my products, for Goya products, because it's separately also for my co-products. For example, let's say um, it's not chocolate, for example, it is the biscuits, candy, just like that. And when I will go to the selling, for the selling area, yeah, that is in the grocery that we see in the grocery, the selling area of the Goya products. So I should have the inventory also, and the so it is the inventory card, and the logbook, that I always maintain inventory always, so I can monitor all of these products as well. And that's all. Thank you. And the next reporters will be Angeli Boa.
Inventory evaluation methods. Number 1, FIFO, or first in, first out. The raw materials that were received first are assumed to be issued first. So, ang sa FIFO, or the first in, first out, is kung unsa may unan nimo nabutang sa imong inventory, is mo to'y unan nimo ibaligya. So, ang LIFO, last in, first out. The last raw materials received by the warehouse man is assumed to be issued first. So, ang LIFO is kabaliktaran siya sa FIFO. Because kung unsa man imo ang last nga gibutang sa imong inventory, mo to'y una nimo ibaligya. And weighted average, or getting the average cost of the raw materials received, and such cost will be the basis for those issued. So before I discuss that further, I'm just gonna discuss the first in, first out first. So first in, first out, or FIFO, is this is the generally accepted accounting principle. Thus, it is used as the benchmark on how to value material issuance. So for example, the application of FIFO. January 5, ordered a 100 cans of quart-size paint from Cubic Hardware. On January 10, received the order from the Cubic Hardware. On January 12, issued 80 cans of quart-size to the factory. On January 13, ordered 50 cans of quart-size paint from High Hardware. On January 15, received the order from High Hardware. On January 16, issued 30 cans of the quart size up to the factory. So, sa makita ninyo sa table, sa part ning sa ordered, since January 5 is ordered 100 cans, wala siya issued, wala siya received, o wala siya balance. Kaya since ning order lang ka. O pagka January 10, na-receive na mo yung order. So, imuhang balance is 100 pieces. And the unit cost is 30. So, when you times that to the 130, so it will come up 3,000. On January 12, you issued 80 cans of quart size to the factory. So, 100 minus 80 is 20. So, imuhang balance is 20 na lang, kay since ni-issue man ka o kaning 80 pieces. 80 times 30 is 2,200. So your remaining balance for January 12 is 20 pieces times 30 equals 600. On January 13, you ordered 50 cans of quart-size paint from High Hardware. So, lahi na po ng hardware imuhang gi-orderan. And, ang ihang unit cost is 35. So, Pagka January 15, na-receive na nimo to imong order. So 50 times 35 is 1,700, and your remaining balance is 50 pieces. And 35, so when you times that 2, 50 times 35 is 1,500. So at January 16, you issue 30 cans of part size to the factory. So since 30, una na may baligya is ang 20 sa January 13. I know. Sa January 12. Kay since mo man ay mag-ending sa first kay cubic man tong una. So, na siya, sa cubic nga hardware, na siya nabili nga 20 pieces. So, mo tayo una ni mo ibaligya kay since mo tayo una sa imong inventory. Then, since kulangan pa siya og 10, diara ka mukuha dayon og kaning porsyento sa i-order ni mo atong sa January 13, which is sa high hardware. So, imo remaining balance for January 16 is 40 pieces na tig 35. Kay hurot naman tong imuhang hurot naman tong from cubic hardware. So 40 times 35 is 1,400. Last in, first out on LIFO. This inventory method is usually used by business enterprises because of the change in behavior of the consuming public. So, last in, first out is a method used to account for inventory. Under of the LIFO method is the cost of the most recent products or purchased or produced are the first to be expensed. So, kung unsay last timong gibutan sa imong inventory, notoy una nimo ibaligya. Kaning ang LIFO method is kaning only used in the United States and governed by the Generally Accepted Accounting Principle or the GAAP. Using LIFO typically lowers net income, but it is tax advantageous when prices are rising. So, let's use the same example we used on explaining the FIFO method. Ang kalahian lang nila is, sa LIFO method is, again, last in, first out. On January 16, issue 30 cans of quart size to the factory. So, kung tanawin mo sa table, on January 16 is ning issue kag 30 cans. So, tig 35 ang unit ka. So, 30 times 35 is 1,050. Since mo man nung i-issue, so, kaning 50, sa imong balance, imong remaining balance na 50, minus sa imong 30 is equals to 20. But since your issued amount is 105, so kaning balance, kaning amount nimo sa balance na part is 1,750 minus 1,050 is 700. So, muna siya i-balance nimo for January 16 on LIFO method. Application of weight average. Using the weight average, you can get the unit cost of the raw materials by dividing the balance in amount with the balance in quantity. In addition, this unit cost will be the basis for unit cost of the issuance of raw materials. So, the weight average method is a tool used in classrooms, statistical analysis, and accounting offices, among others. A weighted average helps the users gather more accurate look of a set of data than a normal average alone. The accuracy of the numbers you arrive at with this method is determined by the weight you give specific variables in data set. So, a weighted average is the average of a set of numbers which with different associated with weights or values. So, to find a weighted average, multiply each number by its weight, then adds the result. To get the unit cost of the raw materials, is you need to divide the balance in any amount with the balance in quantity. So, on January 12 balance is, you have a 20 pieces. Og ang amount niya is 600. I-add nimo ang sa January 15 na receipt, which is 50 pieces. Og iyang amount is 1,750. So, ang total niya is 70 pieces. Og iyang amount is 2,350. So, 2,350 divided by 70 equals 33.57. So muna siya daban to imong balance unit cost is 33.57. Kung i-multiply na nimo duha is 70 times 33.57, maka-comes up ka og 2,350. By January, in addition, this unit cost will be the basis for unit cost of the issuance of raw materials. So, the weighted average method is a tool used in classrooms, statistical analysis, and accounting offices, among others. A weighted average helps the users gather more accurate look of a set of data than a normal average alone. The accuracy of the numbers you arrive at with this method is determined by the weight you give specific variables in data set. So, a weighted average is the average of a set of numbers which with different associated with weights or values. So, to find a weighted average, multiply each number by its weight, then adds the result. To get the unit cost of the raw materials, is you need to divide the balance in any amount with the balance in quantity. So, on January 12 balance is you have a 20 pieces. Og ang amount niya is 600. I-add nimo ang sa January 15 na receipt which is 50 pieces. Og iyang amount is 1,750. So, ang total niya is 70 pieces. Og iyang amount is 2,350. So, 2,350 divided by 70 equals 33.57. So, muna siya, daban to imong balance unit cost is 33.57. Kung i-multiply na nimo duha is 70 times 33.57, maka-comes up ka og 2,350. By January 16, ning issue ka og 30 pieces. But, iyang unit cost naman good is kayong 33.57. So, 30 times 33.57 is 1,007.10. So, iyang balance is 40. But, because why? 70 minus 30 equals 40. So, imong balance quantity is 40 pieces. So, 40 times 33.57 is 1,342.90. So, this unit cost will be the basis of unit cost for the next issuance. The balance of January 16 will be computed as follow. So, on January 12 balance is 70 pieces. Iyang amount is 2,350 pesos. So, i-add po nimo tong January 15 na receipt, which is 30 pieces. Og iyang amount is 1,007.10. So, ilang difference is 40. Just like what I've said earlier.
So next is what will be the accounting treatment for returns and allowances. So there are two types of returns. So the first one is the internal return. So it means returns coming from the factory o nanggaling mismo sa factory. So, pag ang returns ay nanggaling mismo sa factory, kinakailangan itong i-record sa subsidiary ledger as a negative figure sa issued column. So, pag ang returns kagikan sa factory, kinahanglan na i-record ni siya sa subsidiary ledger as a negative figure. Since, gi-posted man ni as a negative figure sa issued column, so mag-increase ang balance sa inventory. So, basta mo taas ang balance ng inventory, so a problem of order placement will arise. Although the following alternatives are not conclusive, so natay dapat i-consider na procedures in placing the inventory order. A. If from the date of issue of the date of return, there was no intervening issue of a different unit cost, then the return will be placed in its original position. For example, January 5, ordered 100 cans of quart-size paint from Cubic Hardware. January 10, received the order from Cubic Hardware. January 12, issued 80 cans of quart-size paint from High Hardware. January 14, return 5 quarts from factory. January 15, received the order from High Hardware. January 16, issued 30 cans of quart size to the factory. So makita nato sa stock card pag ato ni siyang i-plot ning example. So by plotting this information above sa example, so makita nato na ang return sa January 14 giposted siya as a negative figure sa stock card. For example, January 5, ordered 100 cans of quart-size paint from Cubic Hardware. January 10, received the order from Cubic Hardware. January 12, issued 80 cans of quart-size to the factory. January 13, ordered 50 cans of quart-size paint from High Hardware. January 15, received the order from High Hardware. January 16, issued 30 cans of quart size to the factory. January 17, returned 5 quarts from the factory. So by plotting this example on the given information above, so as you can see, the return on January 17 was shown or posted as a negative figure in the issued column of the stock card. But since there was intervening transaction, then the return will now occupy a different inventory order as shown in our table above. Another types of return, which is the purchase return, it means return to the supplier. So, mga raw materials or mga products na binalik niya sa supplier. So pag ang raw materials or mga product kay return sa supplier, it will be recorded siya ang original cost. Then i-posted din siya sa subsidiary ledger or stock card as a negative entity or figure in the issued column. Then pag mahitabo ni siya, ang balance it decreases the balance of the inventory. So like for example, on January 5, ordered 100 cans of quart-size paint from Cubic Hardware. January 10, received the order from Cubic Hardware. January 12, issued 80 cans of quart-size to the factory. January 13, ordered 50 cans of quart-size paint from High Hardware. January 15, received the order from High Hardware. January 16, issued 30 cans of quart-size to the factory. January 17, returned 5 quarts to the supplier. So by plotting this example on the information given above, so as you can see that the return on January 17 was posted as a negative figure in the issued column of the stock card. So it reduces the inventory or it decreases the inventory, ang iyang balance sa inventory. So unlike sa return to the factory na mag-increase return from the factory, mag-increase iyang inventory. So atong timan-an na pag return coming from the factory, mag-increase iya ang balance of inventory. Pero pag return to the supplier, ang iyang inventory kay magka-diminish or magka-reduce or magka-decrease.
Materials quantitative models for planning and control. Raw materials are not just purchased anytime it is planned, whether the company's product is a regular produce or a special produce. The company, through its engineering department, should have a necessary design, blueprints, and specifications so that when the production start, raw materials are all ready to use. Ang mga materials daw kay ginaplanuhan pagpalit. Wala lang ginapalit bisan kanusa, bisan pag mga product kay regular or special nga produce. Ang company, through its engineering department, need og mga necessary nga design, blueprints, og mga specification para inig start sa production ready na ang raw materials to use. The following factors must be considered. For forecast demand for the next month, quarter of year, determine the lead time, plan usage during the lead time, establish quantity on hand, place units on order, safety stock requirements.
Hello, my name is Yukiro Arpunsi and my topic is all about the economic order quantity. So, unsa man ning economic order quantity? Kaning economic order quantity usa ni siya ka pamaagi nga ginabuhat sa mga kumpanya para ilang masukod kung pila ra ka amount ang ilang ibutang sa ilang inventory base sa ilang ideal order size. Ang purpose aning economic order quantity para ma-maintain og consistent ang ilang inventory o para makareduce po sila sa cost. So, the economic order quantity is the most economical order of raw materials that the company can make. To compute for the EOQ, factors that will affect the most economical purchases to be made by the company must be understood and considered. These are, first, the annual required units. So, the annual requirements of the company in terms of units for a specific raw material, this can be done through observation of the past year purchases. So, in order na makakalculate nimo ang annual requirements sa kumpanya in terms of unit, imo sa lang taon og obserbahan pila ang imong mga nagasto or imong mga purchases last year para ini-project nimo sa karon nga year, imo nang mabana-bana kung aha ka dapat mo settle in terms sa units. So, cost per order. Cost per order, the cost that will be incurred if the company will purchase raw materials. These are driven by the number of orders placed during the year but not the size of the order. So, ang cost per order daw is driven by the number of order placed but not the size of the order. For example, sa A, clerical cost of ordering the raw materials. Unsa man ang clerical cost? Kaning clerical cost is an expense associated with clerical work. Kaning mga typical nga clerical works kaning nag-involve og handling basic office duties like answering phone calls, sorting and filing documents, scheduling appointments, and maintaining office records. And ang sabi pod handling transport charges. Maong giingon ni siya nga giingon siya diri nga driven by the number of order placed, not the size of the amount. Kay every time mag-order ka, naga-charge kag expenses like kanang pagtawag, ang pag-handle ang shipments charges. So, if magsig order ang company, mag-expense siya kayo kay kanin man siyang sa mga shipments. So, if frequent ang company mag-order. So, next, cost per unit materials represents the unit price of the raw materials. For example, sa A, the unit price at gross, o sa B, the unit price at net. So, kaning siya simple man siya. Sa A, mauni siya ang kinatibuk-an na amount, then kaning sa B, mauni siya katong naditakan na. Carrying cost, the cost incurred by the company for maintaining inventory in the warehouse. These are driven by the size of inventory held by the company at any time. For example, storage costs, property taxes, insurance, interest on the funds invested in the inventories. Kani mao ni siyang mga gasto while nag-maintain ka sa ibang inventory like sa storage, property, taxes, insurance, and interest. Why man na ay mga gasto is because ibutang na to lang. Wala kay permanent nga warehouse, wala kay imong kugulingon. Simple mag-abang ka ana dayon naasab kay mga labor ana sa factory nga nagtrabaho. Ibutang po nato nga dili ka makapagawas og goods sa factory kay dili siya mahalin. Mag-depreciate ang value sa imong goods nga na-stock sa factory, which mag-result panoon na siya sa damage sa product. Kaya dili siya ma-release, dili siya mahalin. So, if dili siya ma-release ana na time, dapat schedule na siya na mabaligya din ma-stock na imong mga units sa factory. So let's move for the formula for computing EOQ will be. So muna siya ang formula sa economic order quantity. E is equals to square root of EQP over C. So muna siya ang E nag-represent siya sa economic order quantity, ang Q nag-represent sa annual quantity used, P which is ang cost of placing an order, and C ang annual carrying cost. So for example given, assume that Miliano Company have the following information relating to their purchases of raw materials. So ang Q is which is ang 5,000, then ang P which is ang 10 pesos per order, and C ang 80 cents. To compute the EOP using the formula will be, so kung i-compute na to siya, so E is equals to square root of 2 times 5,000 times 10 over 0.80. So amo siya 100,000 ay square root of 100,000 over 0.8 dayon. Kanang 100,000 i-divide mo siya sa 0.8 which mag-result siya 125,000. Then square root sa 125,000 mao na siya ang 353.55 or 354 units. Kung lantaw na to dito sa table sa order size in units to prove the accuracy of our answer, if ikumpara na to si 150 units sa 350 units, mas dako og total annual cost si 150 units kumpara kang 350 which is 280. Even though mas dako og annual carrying cost si 350 units which is 140, mas gamay japon siya og total annual cost kumpara kang 150 units na 60 ra iyang annual carrying cost pero yung total annual cost is 390. Is because tungkol din siya sa number of orders ni 150 units kumpara kang 350 na 14 ra. Dayon ang kang 150 units is 33 which is mo'y nag-drive sa iyang total annual cost buong ni dako kay ga frequent man siya order which is nag-increase siya sa expenses. Maro to, thank you.
Okay, so good day classmates and special to our instructor, Sir Ronnie Supat. Sir, good evening. And before we proceed, so I would like to introduce myself. I am Ran Bernard Pipirado and I will be the one to report this topic, reorder point. The reorder point will tell the manager when to place the order to initiate production and replenishing the depleted stocks. So the computation of the order point is dependent on whether the raw materials are evenly or variable used. Karon naghisgot man tag replenishing of depleted stocks. So ang napasabot ang replenishing is mo ni siya to fill up or ato ang dungagan. So mo ni siya padawi mo replenishing is ato ang dungagan, ato ning punan ang usa ka depleted stocks. So para mas masabtan nato ni siya. So just like for example, namaligya ako okay-okayan. So kay tungod kusog kaayo akong baligya, so syempre magkaanam dito gamay. So muna siya gitawag depleted stocks. So magkagamay gyud akong stocks. So para to dito mahutdan, so magtago sab ko. So muna siya gitawag also safety stocks, diba? So just in case kung mahutdan ko, so naro kay reserba, so nako makuhaan. So para mo depleted stocks di mahutdan, nag-replenish ko. May mga tag-replenish gali, so muna siya nadungagan, diba? So nga na siya sa pagsabot. Replenish is to fill up or to add more. Okay. Pa-depleted naman yung stocks. So karon, natungod kusog na kay kong baligya, so nag-reorder ko. So kabantay mo kung kumotdan mo sa inyong stocks, so kailangan lagi mo mas mupalit, diba? Mupalit pa mo kay para dili mo mahubsan. So nga na po, so para sa ka-business po, kay para dili ka mas maabtan sa imong pagkalugi, so syempre kinahanglan jud ka nga mag-stock ka diha, so mo siya gitawag mo safety stock. Oo. And now, kapag order nimo, namo gyud tayo duha ka book pilian, labi na kita nga mga buyer. So first, ang kita kisa to mas dali ra kay mo approve. So, naay mo isa ka seller, o sa isa ka seller is mo approve siya daan sa imong product na gusto mo paliton is 1 day lang. And then afterwards, ma-ship na niya para sa padulong sa imong sa imong locality or sa imong places. Oo. And now, with the other one is na po yung seller na mo-approve siya daan by 3 days pa. So, dugay-dugay dyan. So, mistake kita to mas dali, di ba? Na para mas maabot dali-dali ang ato ang produkto. Or, depende sa itong raw materials na ang sa itong gigamit. Di ba? Okay, so let's proceed to number 1. So, constant usage during lead time. So, it's based on the premise that raw materials are used evenly or uniformly throughout the period. For this purpose, let us consider the following factors that will affect the manner of computing the reorder point. So, kung mayroon galitag constant is muna siya nag-describe kung usay mga nahitabo, anang mga oras or anang mga higayon. Tapos, dili po siya changeable. Oo. Kung usay gi oras niya nga maabot, mo gid siya oras sa maabot. And also, na po siya fixed price. Kabantay ba mo ng kwan? Mag-order mo, for example lang so, mas dali siya masabtan. Abante mo sa Shopee kung isa siya nga date or gilagda dito nga pizza, so maabot di siya ng ana pizza ha. So dili na gyud siya mausab. Gawas lang mausab siya if kung na mga bagyo o na mga climate change so nga so mausab siya pero but mostly gyud is maabot di siya. But ang uban sad is napoy dali ra gyud kay maabot. And also ang mga product ko na yung ginapalit, syempre fixed price na gyud siya, dili na siya mausab. But sa mga bus, gusto nyo siya nga makabarato ta sa mga uban nga mausap ang price pero mauragya po niya ang price pero ang niya lang shipping fee is discount lang niya. So karon kay nanamata diri ning area, so ako po tang is how to find average daily usage. So karon para mas mahibala to na siya, so siya pakita sa average daily usage. Syempre sa number of orders during time period nimo. Then mo siyang i-divide dito sa imong number of days in time period. So karon just like for example na ay corporation o incorporation fashion retailer but then nangita nagkinahanglan mo sila average daily usage sa ilang kay maligya man sila sweaters so every month so ilang pamagi nag-compute sila so nga para mas masabtan ninyo sa isa ka bulan ang ilan lang nahalin nga sweaters nga sanina is 85 pieces lang kabuok. So remember, 85 pieces lang kabuok ay lang nahalin. And now, imo na siya i-divide dito sa kanang kadugayon sa adlaw. So butang na to, pila man kabuok adlaw sa kabulan, so 30 days. So kana siya 85. So 85 pieces, imo na siya i-divide to 30. So ang equal na is 2.83. So, muna siya ang imo ang average daily usage. So, kana siya, syempre, katong fashion incorporation nga retailer, so, makabaligya lang sila sa isa ka bulan is tagduha lang kabuk. Taga-adlaw. Ilang mabaligya or ilang makayo ma-produce. So, my next question is, how to find lead time? So, syempre, nga paras ibalan to, usa po pagpangita ang lead time, syempre, sa mo supply delay, plus, mo reordering delay. Oo, so, nga na siya. So, karon na sa lead time formula example. So, para mas masabtan niya, for example, ako nag-order ko raw materials dito sa gawas. So, na para nga mas ma-export siya diri sa atuang country, sa Philippines, is need pa siya i-approve for 1 day. Oo, so 1 day pa siya ma-approve. And then, sa 1 day, is naatay 1 week. So, pila may sulod sa 1 week? So, 7 days. So, 7 days. So, karon kanang 7 days is muna siya nga aya pang pila ka adlaw ma-arrive sa destination diri sa Philippines. And then, before that, dili lang kaya na to siya nga pamagi ma-compute, but also sa pag-receive na to. Pag abot sa Philippines, dili mo gina siya dili sa maabot sa imuha, diba? So, kinahanglan po siya pahulay ang katong mga nag-distribute or katong mga nag-ship. So napay 1 day gyud nga allowance nga para mas matod si mo. So katong 1 day nga approval, but then 7 days nga pagbiyahe from other country here to Philippines. And then plus 1 pag yun nga kuan, plus 1 pag yun nga pag ship sa imong area or sa imong locality. So pila tanan. So 1 plus 7 is 8 plus 1 is equal 9. So muna siya ang supply delay sa imuhang produkto. So nga na siya. So karon nga naman. So para mas masabtan nato, no? Kasagara mo nga ma-delay ra gyud sa adlaw is 6 days ra gyud. So kana 6 days is imo na siyang i-plus sa imuhang supply delay. So just like for example katong giingon bitaw ganina. So saan siya pagkuha katong reordering delay. So imong pag-reorder is 6 days siya na delay sa imuha. So kana siya imo na yung kanang 9 nimo, kanang supply delay is mo na siya mo i-plus dito sa 6. Sa pag-plus nimo ng 9 plus 6 is equal 15. So the answer is mo na siyang kuan. So katong incorporation nga kung giingon ninyo na for example ako nag-order ko, so syempre must account for 15 days of lead time. So syempre maabot wi siya mga 2 weeks na gyud. Our next problem na pod is how to find lead time demand. Is ganina pangita is how to find lead time. But now na pod is how to find lead time demand. So karon so ganina na para mas masabtan na to is naa siya yung formula nga gihatag. So ang formula nga gihatag niya is una is average daily usage. And the second one is lead time. So gaya ganina nga atong gisolve ganina, pila gato yung lead time na to, di ba 15? So 15 days. So mo to siyang gitawag itong 9 plus 6 is equal to 15. So mo na siya tong lead time sa 15 days or 2 weeks, di ba? So pila mo tong atong average daily usage. So kagaya sa kung gingon nyo ganina no nga na maligya siya kaganiha ay na maligya ko og kuan. So maligya ko og sweaters nga isa ka bulan is 85 pieces lang ang nahalin sa ako ang sweaters. Then nga para mas masabot niyo ma-compute, i-divide niyo na siya sa kabulan sa pila ka book days or pila ka days sa isa ka bulan. So muna siya 30 days. So 85 divided by 30. So the answer is 2.83. So muna to ang average daily units or average daily usage. So kana siya. So muna siya ang pag-compute. So ato ang average daily usage is 2.83. Sabtan na ba? And where atong lead time is 15. So ren, unsaon din nato siya pag-compute nga para makuha na to ang lead time demand. So ang lead time demand is imo na siyang ikuan. So kini si kuan imo na siyang so si 2.83 so maning average daily units mo average daily usage 2.83 i-times nimo dito sa imong lead time nga 15 days. So the answer is 42.3. So kana so muna na siya imong average imong lead time demand nimo so 42.3 or 42.25 dahil sorry 42.23 nga para mas masabtan ninyo nganong 43 or 42 ang answer kay tungod muna atong kinahanglan nga atong reorder sa ato ang depleted stock. For example sa 100 so sa 100 is nahalina lang ta og 57 so kinahanglan ta mag-reorder ta og kuan 42 pieces kabuk nga mga raw materials or ato ang mga product na gusto na to palitonon. So ingana na siya nga para mas masabtan nato, di ba? So karon let's proceed po sa how to find safety stock levels. So para mas masabtan nato siya kasi kini siya is safety stock so maximum daily usage time, maximum lead time. And i-minus naman siya ang total ato sa average daily usage mo tapos i-times sa mo sa average lead time. So nakabantay ba mo ganina nga nakahisgot ta og pila to 9. So asam din nagikan ng 9 rin sa atong balikon. So muna siya katong pag-approve niya sa imong product o sa imong raw materials na gusto mo i-import or sa gusto mo i-order is muna siya 1 day niya. And then we have 7 days sa isa ka semana, di ba? So 1 day plus 7 days is equal, it is equal to 8. But then, nga para mas maabot diya sa imong area is, syempre, madugay yun siya, di ba? So, naging siya 1 day allowance. So, 1 plus 7 plus 1 is equal to 9. So, muna siya. So, karon muna siya ang supplier's delay. Dito na sa supplier's delay na niya. Diba? Kabantay mo madugay yung maabot. Tungod na nila dito sila. Dili na tungod sa imong area. So, karon pag-abot na po sa imuha na po, diri nga area na po is, para ma-arrive na po siya sa imong certain area or certain places, is na siya 6 days delay. Oo. Tapos, pila na? 9 plus 15. 9 plus 6 is equal 15. Diba? So, karon kay na may 2 days po nga delay si seller, and then napoy 1 day nga na delay kitungod sa bad weather sa pag-ship sa imong area. So, pili na 2 plus 1 is equal 3. So, 15, umutong i-add sa imong 3 is equal to 18. So, muna siyang estimated lead time sa usa ka incorporation or sa usa ka katong giingon ninyo nga ito ha kasi itong fashion retailer sa incorporation nagisgot man ta og maximum daily usage. For example, ang ato ang number nga ato ihatag is 5. So, itong maximum daily usage is 5. So, karon nga para mas may ba na to sa mga formula nila, atong buhaton is ang 5 nga maximum daily average nimo is 5 man, di ba? And then ang ato ang ganina kung gigon nimo ang atong ganina ang lead time ganina is 18. Oo. Or max lead time jud or yung katong katasan na gyud, di ba? So 18. So kana siya nga para mas makuha nimo mo ni ang formula. So una, imo ning i-time si max daily average dito ni max lead time. So 5 times 18 is equal 90. So karon mo to siya 90. And then the next one is say mo ang average daily usage po nimo or nato gani kaganiha. So just like for example sa tong gisolve ganina nga 2.83. So kanang 2.83 asa man nagikan, balik ko na po nato. So kanang 2.83 is dito na siya gikan katong bitang nahalinan siya nga 85 pieces, then iyang gi-divide dito sa 30 days. So muna ang answer 2.83. So muna tong average daily usage. And now ato na po siyang i-times dito ni 15 days lead time. So muna siya katong days bitaw nga katong yung 9 days nga supplier delay nga gi-order niya, but pag abot po sa mo is na siya 6 days nga delay. So kanang 9 and 6 imo na siyang i-plus mo na siyang equal 15. So mo to balik siya 2.83 i-times mo dito ni 15. So the answer is 42.25 something na siya. 42.25 something. So karon so mo to siya 42.75 man na siya. 2.83 times 15 days. So muna siya 42.75. So karon ren unsa pa kay balong nga pila isulod sa tong safety stocks. Compute ganina kung nito siya 90 minus nimo sa 42.45. Nasayop di ko dito siya 75 guys. So kana siya 90 minus 42.45. So the result is muna siya 47.5. So muna to ang safety stock na to. Muna ka mo diyan nga magnegosyo mo, ang pagnegosyo gyud is dili gyud na siya dali-dali. Bilang kay negosyo magkwartal mo, pero dili ay sa negosyo is kinahanglan po mo mag-compute kung pila ba gyud tanan yung nagkinahang, pila ba gyud yung kinahanglan sa inyong pag-order, o pila ba na depleted sa inyong depleted stocks is pila ka book dapat niya i-replenish na para mas insakto gyud siya. Din iligay sa inyong pag-business ninyo, sige lang mo baligya kaya wala mo nag-safety stock ninyo, okay? Just for in case maabsan mo hubas diya, wala mo kakuutan. So inyo yung buhaton na is nagid mo yung mga plano gyud para mas makuha yung insakto pila gyud ta ng amount inyong gusto gyud. That's it sir, thank you and God bless.